What is going on, everybody? So today I wanted to share with you some tanks I did just the other day. Now I went on my typical service route and I just kind of wanted to go over some of the tanks that I do on a daily basis and some problems that I'm having with some of the aquariums. Just give you a better idea of what I do kind of on a day-to-day basis. Now, every one of these tanks, there's an issue with, and I will kind of talk about what the issue is and how we're dealing with it here at Tanknicians. Yeah, so that's it. So let's get into it. All right, first tank of the day that I'm working on. So let's go take a quick tour of what we have here. Nice little coral bandit, looking big and buff, flexing on us. Showing us his guns. Then we have a really nice looking Anthias that's hiding out now because he's camera shy. A harem, or whatever you want to call it. What are these clownfish called again? Oh my God, skunk, orange skunk clowns. Wow. It's early and I'm out of it today. Sorry guys. Blue hippo tang. And what else we got? Oh, we got this little eel, the newest edition, this little eel. Yes, I am worried about the eel eventually eating that coral banded shrimp, but that is a worry of mine. But, you know, they really wanted an eel. I couldn't catch the coral bandit, so hopefully they play well together. Little feather duster poking, about to come out fully. Is it gonna come out? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on, come on, come on. I just put my hand in the tank because I was cleaning up a bunch of clamshells that were on the sand right now. So that's a really pretty feather duster. Nice color. Usually you see feather dusters and they're just like brown and white. This one, look at that. Look how pretty that is. All right, Big Daddy Anthias right there, who's pretty much the boss of the tank. He just chases everybody around, even if the fish are bigger than him. Chromis right there, which I do want to add some more chromis because I think we only have 2 or 3 in here. Little Aptasia eating foulfish, the newest additions to the tank. Anemone, just recently put that in. Hopefully that can start to grow. And actually, I got another really pretty anemone I'm gonna put in here, but I'll wait to show you guys that later. A big old damselfish right there, which, believe it or not, this damselfish actually gets bullied by that Anthias, which is weird to me. Royal Grandma, big full-grown Royal Grandma. Who else we got? Oh, blue jaw trigger hiding out in there because they're scaredy cats and that's just what they do. Linkia orange starfish right there. As far as corals go, just softies, you know, nothing crazy. Eagle eyes, some zoas. We do have an acro growing right there. So I have the lights on white right now because the lights don't come on yet. That's why everything's looking kind of not great. Usually this toadstool, the polyps are out and it's huge. It expands really big, but the lights weren't set to come on for like another hour and a half, so the tank's off schedule right now. But we got another little SPS coral encrusting on the rock right there. Got some star pearl growing on the overflow. Leather corals right there. Let's take a trip. What else we got? I've been just kind of adding things here and there. Some mushrooms, rock flower. Let's go over here. Some more mushrooms, blue discosomas, another star polyp growing on the overflow on this side. And I think that's all I got going on in this tank. There's a yellow tang in here also somewhere, hiding out right there, just peeking his head out. So there's a lot of room for some more coral in this tank. This tank does have Aptasia in it, and cabbage coral, of course. Does have Aptasia in it, but with those Aptasia eating foulfish in there, so hopefully they do work. And puffer fish. And I've been hitting it manually. Like today I hit it with some kalkwasser right there and down there. There's just a couple throughout the tank, nothing too crazy, but the customer's mostly into fish, so he just really wants some really cool fish with personality. So I think I'm just gonna stick with softies, maybe a couple encrusting SPS corals and some anemones, different types of cool anemones in this tank. Nothing too crazy. We also have the, eel to worry about. So this is gonna be a high nutrient tank, so I don't want anything that's gonna be too finicky or delicate to go into this tank. So definitely room for a lot more coral, and we're gonna get there in time. But for now, that's what this tank is about. And he also has another aquarium. Before I forget, marine beta. You don't often see these guys in fish tanks because they are hard to get to eat, but this one's been in this tank for years. This is the other tank they have in the house. This is a small little Red Sea Nano Aquarium. I've done plenty of videos of this tank in the past. sailfin molly. We got some yellow clown gobies. There's some other fish that after the large change are all hiding, but there's a mask goby. There's some hyphen gobies, neon gobies. There's a bunch of different things in here, but I've done plenty of videos on this in the past, so I won't spend too much time. Trima gobies. There's a bunch of little fish. I think there's about 15 total in this tank, but they're all hiding after the water change. But this tank is just going crazy, and pretty soon I'm gonna start taking these pallies and stuff out because they're ugly, and I just put them in there kind of to get the tank balanced, but I'm gonna replace those with things like, you know, pretty pallies, like a purple monster or some utter chaos or something like that. These were just kind of fill in corals. The star polyp, we're gonna have to definitely keep an eye on that, but I kind of like the way that looks. Toadstool's doing great. The rock flowers, they're doing all right. I think this tank gets a lot of ambient light, like a lot of light, and it gets hot in this corner. So I gotta be very careful which corals I put in here because there's a lot of light, and it does get warm in this corner. So love that discosoma mushroom, another fat discosoma over there. But yeah, we're gonna get rid of this candy tree. We're gonna make this thing look really cool. Once, you know, next visit, I'll probably take a lot of these pallies out. Once I get some cool corals in, bada boom, bada bang, we're gonna hook this thing up and make it look great. All right, on to the next job. All right, on to the next job. And this tank, I'm going to do a whole video on it later on, but for now, I'm just gonna give you a little glimpse into what this looks like. This tank's been up for 10 months. And we got some unbelievable, beautiful corals in here. I'm not gonna share it all with you guys because this deserves a video all on its own. Some beautiful chalices. Look at all these acros. 10 months this tank's been up. Look at all this coral. And it's all doing amazing. Monopora, you got LPS, you got softies. Look at the torch garden that's developing here. Look how long those polyps are extending out. Look how happy everything is. Look at how happy these zoas are. I mean, good Lord. But that's all you guys get for now. I will show you the rest in another video. On to the next job. All right, next tank. This big mature aquarium that's been up for a long time. That needs a ton of fragging. Some new additions, this beautiful torch coral. But we got this invasive sponge in here, which is really irritating the coral, so I'm gonna have to address that. But everything else is looking pretty good. Gotta cut back some waving hand anthelia. Definitely gotta work on this monopora because it's starting to shade everything. And pretty soon it will shade this pectinia. And you can see the lepto, Incredible Hulk lepto is getting stung by this hammer coral. It's sending out sweeper tentacles and it's burning all right down there. And then it's also being annoyed by the monopora. That's gonna be, the cap's gonna be growing over, shading it, so it's in a tough spot. So we really got to get in here and hack some stuff up. Duncan coral, look at this. This was beautiful not too long ago, but the light schedule got messed up. There was a problem there, and these guys are not happy. So hopefully they come back. Also need to do some fragging. Hey, Puffer, got to do some fragging with this pulsing xenia. Got to get this out of here. It's starting to enclose around that bird's nest or that Polypora. Yeah, but everything else, got some hammer corals over there. That's looking all right. Big old cabbage coral. Yeah, plenty of work to do on this tank today. Yeah, the lighting schedule was running 24 hours a day for the past probably like week. So it's definitely taking its toll on these corals. They are stressed. Somehow the lighting got messed up. But I fixed it now, got the call, came out, fixed it, and hopefully things can settle back in and not be so stressed. That's a frustration. All right, on to the next aquarium. Now this tank we got from another service company. It was just covered in coral pest and fish disease, so we had to restart the whole thing. Everything that you see in this tank has been quarantined. All the fish have been quarantined. All the coral have been quarantined. This tank's less than a year old. We're dealing with a bit of hair algae issues in this one, but no big deal because we'll just add some fluconazole and knock that out, no problem. But what we're looking at here is within the next month, this whole tank is gonna be broken down and moved because they're moving to a new house. So we're gonna have to kind of start the process all over. A bit frustrating, but you know, they're gonna upgrade the tank to a bigger size, and then this tank right here will be used for something else. And that something else is this tank right here that they have in the same house, the seahorse tank. It's running on a hang in the back filter right now. This is actually what they were sold to by the other service company, and it's just not adequate enough for these seahorses. So they want to upgrade the seahorse tank to the tank you saw previously and then get a bigger tank because she does want bigger fish. All right, so here's a cylinder tank, and we got ourselves a blue hippo tang. PJ Cardinal, green spotted puffer. I call him the star, the rock star of the tank. We have some clownfish there in the back. And there's a yellow tang, aquaculture yellow tang biota, of course, around here somewhere. Striped blenny. This tank is pretty difficult to work in. You don't see tanks like this anymore. This is an acrylic aquarium from back in the day. They don't make these anymore unless you go on Amazon to some like weird seller that I wouldn't trust. But it's incredibly thin acrylic, and filtration isn't great here. The setup is kind of real janky, a little sketch, but this tank has been rocking and rolling. We've got it back to looking good. It was in bad shape. It had fish disease. It was a mess. Nitrates are through the roof, but it's finally starting to come back. The fish are happy. There's an angelfish in here somewhere too. Oh, I just saw a barn goby swim by. Cool. All right, yeah, so it's looking good. It's looking good. I want to add more fish, maybe some more wrasse. I think wrasse would be great in a cylinder tank. Add a lot more life to it. But yeah, that's the cylinder tank. Little firefish goby, two of them.
Now, don't get me wrong, I do think cylinder tanks are unique and cool. I just wish they'd make them better quality, and I wish they'd kind of make them a little bit more modern. You can see how deep it is and how, like, I really got to get my whole arm in this tank to be able to reach the bottom. It's hard to clean because you can't use a scraper on a cylinder tank.
There's also this cute little freshwater tank up here with a star of the tank, the angelfish right there. Simple tank setup, nothing too crazy. Hang on the back filter, some swords, Amazon swords. I'd like to get rid of these fake plants for sure. Those are kind of whack, especially when you already got real plants. But tank is super clean. Do this one once every month. Doesn't need more than a 5-gallon change.
Alright, and our last tank of the day is this beautiful Red Sea aquarium that it's starting to get there. I think it's about 2 years old. Mature tank, starting to get some good growth. You can see we got some good growth on these zoas. Star polyps taking off. We got these red mushrooms, which I think they're beautiful, but they are just getting out of control. But that's a really pretty mushroom. Every time I'm here, I gotta remove one of these anemones because they're splitting like crazy. So we got some good growth in this tank. Now we're here once every 2 weeks. We service this tank. Now the bad in this aquarium, the stuff that we're dealing with now is a lot of hair algae. We're dealing with a bunch of hair algae. The rocks that is used in this tank is very good at collecting detritus. Oh, I love that. Look at that. The whole rock is covered in red mushrooms. That's so beautiful. And but everything else is doing really well. The softies are doing great in this tank, and these stuff frog spawns looking good. There is picking going on in this aquarium, so I believe it's a blonde naso is picking at coral in this tank. Look at those. Yeah, softies are going crazy. Gorgonians going absolutely nuts. But yeah, we're dealing with a bit of another hair algae break out in this tank, which again we'll treat with fluconazole. These rocks are just really good at collecting detritus, and there's the culprit right there picking up Euphyllia coral. Beautiful fish, but yeah, angelfish is actually behaving itself. It's not picking at all. So I'll get with the customer and I'll try to figure out what is actually causing the hair algae outbreak. But you know, we'll treat it and we'll get this tank looking back to normal.
There's Maddie.
My little partners. All right, so we'll call it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.